going on, everybody? John Caniford, JJ DJ Entertainment, bringing you the second video for Showxpress version 7 to you guys. So hopefully we can take your DMX lighting to the next level, or if you're just getting started out, trying to show you guys the basics. A lot of the stuff I'm gonna go over in this video, more than likely I would have covered it in my version 6. I'm going to be a little bit repetitive if you've seen the version 6 videos, but if I say something that you guys that are new and haven't seen the old videos, it's definitely worthwhile to check it out, even though the software is a different version. The principles and everything are all the same. So we've gone over how to add in fixtures, and we've added in 6 fixtures. So the first thing I like to do, and this may be a little bit of my OCD, is I like to clean up this screen over here to the side that has all the fixtures on it. A lot of the time I'll go in and I'll actually add the image in for the actual fixture, and so I won't have these default images. And if you're not sure how to do that, let me just jump back into the fixture tab. Let's open up my first fixture. In here where it says 2D view, you can load JPEG images into this, and it'll and I think I sized them down to 75 pixels tall or wide, but I did it to scale, so it was the correct ratio, so it wasn't squished or squished. But I loaded the correct images in for those fixtures, so I can easily identify them on this on the fly without going into steps here and clicking and seeing what the pop-up little window is here, the little yellow window, or checking here in the fader section. So the first thing I like to do is organize it. So what I do is I right click and I do the snap to grid option. It's already been selected, and you know that because it's green and has a check by it. And by having it snap to the grid is you can make everything kind of snap to an invisible grid, and you can make the grid visible by clicking show grid. And I don't know if those dots show up, but I can see them on my screen. But it kind of allows you to just make everything evenly spaced so it's consistent. So however you're working on your lights, and if you have maybe on this particular run of lights you may have 2 pars and maybe two strobes and a couple more movers, it just visually it looks nicer when it's all in a straight line and they're not crooked. It bothers me, and that's my own personal OCD. But I like to also space them out so I can kind of see what I'm working with, and they're all not sitting on top of each other. So the next thing I do is I create my groups. Now these are my Mac 101. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna highlight all 4 of these, and they're all, even though it doesn't show you the box. There's the box, but you also can tell what's been selected based off what is down here in your fader section. So I see all 4 of the Mac 101s. I'm gonna right click down here, I'm gonna click add new group, and I'm gonna call this Mac 101 all. And so I know if I hit A, I'm going to select all the Mac 101s. So I have my totem left and totem rights, and for the sake of making this better for you guys, I think visual, let me just rename these fixtures real quick. And I'm gonna call this totem, or we'll say back totem left, and I'll name this guy back totem right. Okay. Let me just jump back in here. Okay. So I have my totem left, totem right, my back totem left, and back totem right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a group with just the left fixtures. So what I did on the Mac, you can hold down the command button and click multiple fixtures. So I have my totem left and my back totem left selected. I'm going to create a group for that, and this is going to be Mac 101s. I always start out with the fixture or the grouping of the fixtures, what they're kind of the cluster, maybe on the left truss run, or I try to put them together so when I'm recalling the groups quickly, I can see my nickname that I've given it and be able to know what exactly that is. Left. Okay, and then we'll make C the right totems. And you know, you can make as many groups as you want. I mean, you essentially have, you know, all the letters in the alphabet, so all those in lowercase, and then all the letters in the alphabet in uppercase. So you have a good amount of groups you can make. I've never used all of them. I don't think I've ever really gone past 10 or 12 groups. But I mean, you can make one just for the front totems, and make one for the backs. You know, it may not seem like it's a huge advantage by doing groups with the small amount of fixtures we're working with, but when you have 12 or 20 moving heads or 30, 40 bar cans, it's tedious to go through and click every one of them and then go back and make sure you have all of them, versus just setting it up in a group and being able to quickly recall all of them, or being able to recall just the right totems or maybe just the left totems. And I think you can hold down, yeah, so you can also hold down the, so if I select the left totems and I hold down Control, I can also select the, well, never mind, it was letting me do it, now it's not. Oh, there we go. So, if I select, sorry, it's being funky for me. So, I can hold down Control and hit the letter associated with the shortcut, but I can click the actual text here, hold down Control, then click C, and it'll attach the next set of totems, or the next group. Now, I'm not really sure what these AC, AB, AC, AB are, that are in those parentheses. So if someone knows what that means, comment below. Like I said, I'm not the Showxpress god. I mean, Storm really is Showxpress god. I am just kind of like a Showxpress peasant that kind of knows how to do some stuff and is able to share with you guys. And let's go ahead and make a fixture. These are the Mac 250s. Let's go ahead and just make a group for these just for the sake of doing it. Now, also keep in mind that you can update these. So if you add in more fixtures, or if you realize that, you know, hey, I didn't mean to add this totem, you can go in here and change, you know, click which ones you wanted, and then right click on it and click update fixtures in this group. And also you can right click and go to edit selected group, and you can change the names and you can change the group key. You know, if you wanted something a little faster, a lot of people use the QWERTY, the QWERTY, right to the right of the tab key on your keyboard. The QWERTY is the first 6 keys, and so it's just generally where your left hand is sitting on your keyboard if you've taken a typing class. Well, actually, it's technically on ASBG, but the QWERTY is a little bit easy. It's the one everybody uses. Let me just say that. So your left hand sits there and your right hand is usually on the mouse, so you can quickly hit those QWERTY keys or the ASBFG faster than you could by moving your hand to the other side of the keyboard. And that way it kind of might be faster for you guys. How you do it doesn't make a difference to me. So you have your basic layout. If you used Showxpress before and you select your fixtures, you can go in here and you can turn on your reds. Sorry. You can turn on your red LED and then add a step. And then you can turn on maybe your green LED and turn off your red. So now that's green. So the steps are just kind of I'm debating here, guys. I'm kind of arguing with myself mentally right now whether I need to go over the basics with you guys, or if you guys are familiar with Showxpress and I don't need to go through and explain what the steps are. But the steps are just kind of, you're saying for 5 seconds you're gonna be on this particular layout, and then for another 5 seconds you're gonna be another separate layout. Now I will tell you guys, if you want to program Showxpress, in my opinion, the best way to where you have more versatility is, and it's kind of more modular if you really think about it, program your stuff separate, meaning for your moving heads, program just your colors. then program your movements, and then program maybe your shutters and maybe your gobos. Program all those separately. I mean, you can make them where they're all together, but it works out a lot better for live lighting to have everything separate, so you can stack your scenes you've made on top of each other. So you may have a great movement that you've made with the generator, where the lights are covering a good area and you like the motion of the lights. And if you had made that generator scene with red, you're stuck with red unless you overrun it. So it's nice just to have the movements all programmed separately. And then you could add in the blue. You could then change it to green. And you have all your colors completely separate from that movement, so the movements never change, and you're just kind of layering your colors on top of it, or you're layering a gobo, or you're adding in a strobe effect. So definitely program everything separate. So I'm going to show you guys an example of how I would program these Mac 101s. So I'm going to program all the fixtures together, and for starters I'm going to I'm just going to make I did it again. I'm making it red. I'm gonna go up here to save. And the key to being successful in lighting are part of the basics is being organized. So make a folder and call it Mac 101. Then within that folder, name this maybe colors. Okay, so I have my red. Okay, so let me right click disable, and it's important to disable your channels, because if not, you'll have stuff overriding each other that you don't necessarily want it to. So I'm going to go ahead and make it green, and I'm going to do a save as, and I'm already in the correct folder, and I'm going to call this green. I'm going to right click, I'm going to disable that color, and I'm going to now add in my blues, and I'm going to go ahead and do save as, and I'm going to call this blue. And then I'm just going to do 3 colors. Now you also have up here your color wheel. And this is either, depending on the fixtures, RGB or CMY. And you can easily go here and shift around your color wheels to kind of match a certain color you're looking for, or create colors faster. Or if you failed kindergarten and don't know how to blend the 3 main colors together to get yellow or pink or teal, this color wheel is for you. So you can quickly create your colors you want. Now keep in mind, every fixture is different. You may be able to get a certain purple that you may want with these Mac 101s, but that exact same 180 red, 255 blue, which is right here, that exact same formula may not be the exact same purple on a par cam. So you're going to have to, at some point, look at your fixtures and kind of figure out whether or not the red's a little stronger than the other fixtures, or the blue might be a little different color blue, or not as powerful of a blue than another set of fixtures you may have. So you can program to the best of your ability on here, but like anything, seeing what it looks like live and making the fine adjustments as needed definitely is worthwhile. And will improve your show and create your, enable your show to be more balanced and equal. So the next thing I want to show you is I want to show you how to make your steps, and I'm going to show you eventually how to set up a color slider. So let me go ahead and just get it out of this. Actually, I'm just disable these channels real quick. Now I made my red, green, blue individual colors. Let me go to make a steps where they go red, green, blue. So I'm gonna go red, and I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna name this step. You don't have to name it, but it's a little nicer. And this next one I'm gonna call this blue, and let me turn. Actually, I'm gonna make this green. And the next step is going to be blue. Okay. So I have my 5 steps here, and if I go ahead and I hit play, for 5 seconds it'll be blue, and then in 5 seconds it'll go up to red, and then it will go up to green. Now if you're watching the faders, now the green's not working, so let me figure out what I did here. So let me change this to green, and let me bring up the green fader and disable this one. Okay, let's try it now. Green for 5 seconds, then it should go to blue. You know what it is, guys? It's because I disabled the faders. When you're doing steps, the faders have to stay enabled, not disabled. That's my fault. And that's probably why the red's not working. And I'm just using the up and down arrows to go through the steps to make sure they're all correct. So now it should work properly. Now you're seeing as it's going from step to step, the faders are gradually moving from the top to the bottom and from the bottom to the top. Now this is called a smooth transition from color to color, so it's just going to softly change from color to color. Now if you don't want this and you want it to change immediately from red to green, from green to blue, I can show you how to fix that, and I'm going to rename this because this is meant to be blue. Okay. So in order to do that, at the bottom here you'll see these little lines, and if the line's at a diagonal, it means that it's making a smooth transition down. It's not a hard change. So I'm going to go through, and each step I got to make sure that it has this straight line where you're straight horizontal, straight vertical, straight horizontal, and that allows it to do an instant transition versus a smooth fade. So now if you watch every 5 seconds, it'll instantly change versus the faders sliding up and down. Okay, I did it on all of them, but okay, let me fix this. I'm telling you guys, maybe tonight's not my night. I don't know, I guess I didn't have all the fixtures selected, because now you see on all of them when I click it, they all change versus that one. I don't know why I did that. Alright, so let's try it again. So in 5 seconds it'll go to green. And you see how that's an instant jump. It doesn't move the faders other than from a straight 0 all the way to 255. And so that just keeps cycling back and forth. And you can make as many steps as you want. You can change the duration of these steps. So if I was to go to the total, and the total right here is for 15 seconds, each one is 5 seconds apiece. Let's say I change the total time to 30 seconds. Now when I hit return, it will automatically calculate and redistribute the duration. Boom. Now let's say I had this green not on the full 10 seconds, and I had the green at, we'll say, 5 seconds. Now what it does is it automatically updates the total. Now because they're not all even anymore, so I've made red 10 seconds, green 5 seconds, blue 10 seconds. If I was to go into the total again and change this down to, actually I'm going to change it up to 50 seconds. It takes into consideration that the values, your duration times are different for each light. So when you change the total, it rebalances out the way you had it kind of split. So as you can see, when I change it to 50, it still left the green as a shorter transition than the other two. So let me just put this all back to the same timing. Not that it makes a difference what my end result I'm going to demonstrate. So let me go ahead and do a save as, and I'm going to call this red, green, blue. Now you can say red, green, blue steps. I just name mine red, green, blue, and when I see multiple scenes like that, I know that It's a step pattern. Okay, so we did that. So let me jump into live, because I want to show you guys the reason why I did a 3 steps, and I also did my individual colors. So if I go into live, and let me set my page up the way I like it. Go here to settings. I'm going to give myself 4 boards, and that'll be good for me for right now. So I'm going to rename this page, and I'm going to call this Mac 101 Colors. Now again, it's important to not only be organized in your file system for your Showxpress, but also you want your pages. You just don't want to throw everything all on one page. And if you're only running a couple lights and you're not doing a big show, you may be able to get away with that. But once you start getting into bigger lights or bigger shows, you're going to want your colors or your palettes on different pages, and you'll see why. So I've changed it to Mac 101 Colors, and I'm going to go in here and I'm going to click Add Light Scene. So I have 4 scenes I'm adding. I'm adding my blue, my green, the step pattern we've created, and the red. And I'm going to hit Open. Now what I do once I've added in my colors, I right click on them and I go ahead and I make the color match the button, or make the button match the color. And it's nicer when you're doing this quick on the fly. I can visually see that the button's blue, and I know that's my blue colors. Now the red, green, blue, I really can't do anything with that. I could go into like Photoshop or Paint and make an image that has red, green, and blue side by side, so I would know, but I don't really want to go through that whole process right now with you guys. But it's an option you guys could do, because you can right click on this and click Button Image and load an image file that you maybe have made that's red, green, and blue. Now the reason why I did those steps is first off, if you're using a Windows machine, and right now I'm using a Mac, on the Windows machine you're going to see something over here that says Auto BPM with a checkbox. If you check that checkbox and you go into that particular fixture and go to Scene Properties, and you go into Auto BPM, let me jump back there. Pretty much when you have an Auto BPM and it says 1/1, so that means every beat it will change steps. So it'll go, if you have a beat that's like this, red, green, blue, red, green, blue, red, green, blue. So it'll change colors to the beat of the music. Now you could bump this up so every 2 beats it changes. So it'll be red, green, blue, red, green, blue. And then you can do it on every 3 beats, and you can do it on every 4 beats, and I didn't even know you do every 8 beats. So I usually do every 4 beats or every 2 beats it changes colors. But we'll put it at 1/1 right now. And so that way, whenever you click that particular button and the Auto BPM on the right hand side is turned on, like right now it's in manual BPM, and you can click this to kind of go with the beat that the song is, and it's kind of a pain in the butt on the Mac, but on the Windows it uses the internal mic to pick up the BPM, so that is an advantage to using a Windows machine. And I am a huge Mac fanboy. I drink the Kool-Aid all day long, but Showxpress kicks ass on a Windows machine. The other thing, so if you're not using Sound Active and you have a MIDI controller, you can map this to your MIDI controller. So the button trigger, and you would go down here to MIDI. I don't have a MIDI source connected, but you would click the MIDI in. And if really, if you had a fader on your MIDI controller or a knob, this is what you would or more than likely what you should use it for. You would check MIDI in, hit learn, and then move the fader or turn the knob on your MIDI controller. And then what you can do there is, once you have that saved, you can move that fader up and it will go red. Move the fader up a little more, it'll go green. If you go all the way up, it'll go blue. So you can control your kind of a color wheel using a fader. And that's what we use our faders for 90% of the time on the APC 40. To control the color wheels, to control the gobos, and to control the master dimmers or the dimmers for the certain fixtures. And you also can right click and go to, let's see, I think it's fader, here we go, yeah, fader button. And this is why in editor, I named the fixtures red, green, and blue, because if not, you won't see this little extra. So right here you see that it's red, and if I was to slide that fader up, you will see that it says green. And then if you slide the fader more, it'll show you that it's blue. I had it there. There we go, blue. So as you move the fader, you'll see the colors on the screen as well as live in your event. But it just makes it kind of nice, like if you're trying to set something up to go into and you haven't turned the dimmer on yet, you can see what color you're on versus seeing the bar graph right here fill up. So definitely an advantage for that. I don't know, I'm hoping you guys understand what I'm talking about here. I know it's kind of difficult to just be kind of given instructions, and I'm horrible at explaining stuff, and I'm hoping you guys are able to follow along. But if not, leave your comments in the video on YouTube, and I'll try my best to get back to you. If not, make sure you guys join the Chauvet Showxpress group in lighting on Facebook. It's a great community of guys. There's a tremendous amount of really, advanced users on there that can give you, get you answers quick. Even if you're in the middle of a gig, there's usually someone floating around on the groups to be able to help you out. Sorry, I had to take a sip of my Dr. Pepper. So the next thing I want to show you guys is movements, and I'm specifically going to show you this using the generator. Now you can create your movements by going to your pan and tilt and using this here to kind of control your movers to where you want to position them. But I like to use the generator for this particular task. So I have my fixtures selected. I'm going to generator, and I hit A to select all the Mac 101s. And I want to mess with the pan and tilt. So I'm going to check off this box here. So now we have enabled the pan and tilt generator. You can make generator files for the red, green, and blue. I'll try to show you guys that a little bit later, but right now I just want to create movements. Remember, I program everything separate. I don't program stuff where it's already put together in a predetermined scene, because I like to be able to control my lights to its potential on the fly. So first things first, I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to move shape and size. And I'm going to resize this down, because if you have a moving head, you have normally 540 degrees of pan and 240 degrees of tilt. So it's a lot more of a coverage than you may need if you may have a totem. So what I do first if I have totems is I resize this window as a whole to fit a small portion. Usually I do like a quarter of one of the squares. And then from here I'll go in here and I'll play the scene. And you have to make sure you also by the way, this right here is a turn on your DMX, and this right here is a turn on your 3D. So I didn't explain that. And it's the same process on here. Turn on your DMX is that switch, and turn on your 3D generator is right there. So go back in here. So right here at this point, if I had my moving head set up, I can see where they're moving and kind of where they're positioned at. And let's say they're not in the right direction, I can start moving this window around until I get it somewhat in the right region that I may be working with. And let's say that region is kind of here. Now, let's say at this point, this to the left, now the lights are moving up. Let's say they're going too far up. I can bring this down and kind of fine tune it. And that's what you do. You just kind of start fine tuning this to you get the lights doing the coverage that you're looking for. And then after that, I'll go down here to the shift, and it'll spread the lights out so they're now fanning each other, and they're not all moving at the same position at the same time. But I do the shift or the fanning last after I get the kind of the outline of the area that I want to work with. And once I know that the area I'm working with is maybe like this area right here on the screen, after I save the generator file, I can go in here and load a new curve. And let's say I want to do the vertical crown, which is a great scene. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna make sure it's in the move and size mode, which it still is. And I'm just gonna go ahead and resize that window. And I remember it's about that size, and I'm gonna go back over here, and the same thing. I'm just gonna fine tune this to fit the room. Then once I fine tune it, I'll go ahead and do my shift. Now there's a lot of great curves that are built in automatically. I personally like the crowns. The vertical crowns and the regular crowns are my favorites. The square, I've never used the square until probably a week ago, and I'm in love with it. So I love the square and I love the stars. But really you can't go wrong. The figure eights are great, the circle's great, the waves are awesome. So right now we'll just go with the vertical crown. Now, once I'm done and this is a good movement for me, and I can speed it up if I want to, I can slow it down. Usually I like to leave it to wherever the duration was set. I don't like to fiddle with this, and I'm going to show you why. Because now in version 7, you have speed faders, which are freaking amazing. I can't tell you how much this has changed the game for us with lighting in Showxpress. So I leave it at whatever it is by default, because you have the ability to speed it up and slow it down. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this movement, and I'm going to save this generator file. And this particular file, just go ahead and save it in projects. You could try to get, I don't really like to get too organized with this, because this is different the way it saves it in version 7. So I'm just going to name this Mac 101, and I'll say vertical crown. Okay. And so let me go into live now. And I'm going to create a new page, and I'm going to call this page movements. And I don't know if you guys saw that bug right there. So if you try to create a new page and there's no pages selected, it won't give you the option. But if you just go ahead and select a page, you now have the options to add new pages. It's always kind of been like a little bug that's been in there. I don't know if it's there for a reason, but that's just the way. If you ever run into that situation, that's the way around it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a new page, and I'm going to call this Mac 101 Movements. Go here, I'm going to go add light scene. Now, remember, it was saved in projects. Now, we're not going to mess with projects. You're going to stay in the folder that it was in when you clicked add scene, and you're going to go into generator, because what it does is it saves the project files, and then it saves the actual scene that you're going to use to recall live in a folder called generator. That's why I told you I didn't like getting too organized with it, because I'm not really sure how it works on the back end, or from a saving perspective. So I don't like to mess with it. And so here's the scene I've made, and there it is on the screen. So I'm going to right click on this scene. I'm going to go to scene properties. Now I'm going to leave it at a manual speed, and I'm going to enable my speed slider. And so right now by default the speed slider is at 100%, which is the 20 seconds by default that the movement was set to. Now we map these to the knobs on our APC 40, and the knobs have to be at 12 o'clock, because if you have it all the way turned to the left, it's going to be at 25% of the speed. So I leave the knobs mapped at, or leave them at 12 o'clock. And once I have multiple of these movements on this page, I make sure that this page is a solo button, meaning that no more than one button can be selected at any given time. So let me just make this page a solo button, you'll see what I mean. So right now the red, green, blue is selected. If I hit green, it automatically disables the red, green, blue, and it turns on green. Same thing if I go to blue. And so it won't allow you to select more than one scene. And by having that for the movements, when you have all your, so we have 6 general movements we use. When we have all those knobs at 12 o'clock, as we turn the knobs, it's going to select that particular scene for you automatically. And then if you need to turn the lights off and not have them moving, you just physically unclick whatever scene's active. But I always make sure the knobs are starting at 12 o'clock. And it's nice because I can, you know, based off the song that the DJ's playing or myself I'm playing, our lighting tech can speed it up to kind of go with the song as maybe the song's building up. And then he can quickly drop back down to 100%. Or if it's going into a slow breakdown, we can slow it down to 50 or even slow it to a 70%. So this right here is amazing for Showxpress. It's something that other programs have had for a while, and we were super excited to hear that version 7 was going to have a speed fader. Now, this is what I really like about this. So rooms change, venues change, setups change. Now, going back in and reprogramming movements for different setups is a pain in the butt. So you can right click on here and go to edit, and it's going to take you to your generator file. You're going to select your pan and tilt. You can go in here after the fact, maybe the next week, and reposition those movers to a different size room. If they're no longer on totems and they're hanging, you can make the squares bigger. Or even if, you know, when you make your scenes live, you kind of have to remember, okay, when I program this, the cables need to face the back, or the cables need to face the left-hand side of the totems. That's how I program my moving heads. But accidentally, you didn't remember that, and you did not do that. You can quickly go in here and just make the adjustment for the orientation of the light, and go ahead and click save. Go back to live and turn it off and on once, and it refreshes the file. So that's a huge advantage to some of us guys that have to program lights week after week after week, because you're going to different venues. The setups are getting wider, or they're getting smaller, or the lights are no longer vertical. They're now they're no longer sitting upright. They're now hanging. So it's a huge advantage for that, as well as, you know, if you needed to, you can always go into the editor and go to fixtures and reverse the pan and tilt that we talked about in the first video that way. So the last thing I'm going to show you for the editor, the editor and the generator, is I'm going to show you kind of the way I do some of my color fades with our uplights and like the Mac 101s that have the RGB fixtures built in. So I have my Mac 101 selected. I'm going to go here red, I'm going to turn red on, and I'm going to turn blue on. So I'm going to go to red, and I'm going to load a curve. And you'll notice that there's different curves for this because it's lights and not physical movements. And I'm going to do a Sin 6 point. And then for my blue, I'm going to do a Sin 6 point, maybe reverse. Yep. Okay. And pretty much what it is, it's just a complete opposite of what that particular scene looks like. And so I'm gonna bring this all the way up. So these blue squares represent where the fader would be on the if you were programming on steps. So when it's at the very bottom, it's 0. When you move it up to the very top, it's 255. And so I'm gonna make this one here 6, right there. And for these, I'm gonna bring these reds up more. Maybe bring this one up a little bit. And bring 6 up. Okay. Now from here, let me see if the 3D works. I haven't tested the 3D, but let me see if it'll load up right, so you guys can kind of see the colors. Now, again, ignore this right here because this is totally irrelevant to you guys, and you should not program your lights this way. But in order for me to show you guys what it would look like, I need to turn the faders on, and I don't have a fader live button made. And we go in here and we'll just make the fixtures a little brighter. guys can see them better. Intensity. Okay. Hopefully this gives you a good representation. So if I go back in here to generator, and I'm gonna click play. Now you see that it's already shifted a little bit, and I'm gonna get as close to 0 as I can. Close enough. Let me go ahead and play this. Okay, and you can see how as the generator is moving, the colors are changing. So let me go ahead and bump the shift up a little bit, and now look at it. So you can use the generator file to make some really unique color fades, and they can get as creative as your mind can get with the orientation of the patterns and stuff you may make within the generator. You can make this so they're not curves, they're straight lines, so they're going to be more of a harsh change. Or sorry, points would actually be an even harsher change. And again, this one's only affecting the blue, so the blue's a harsh change, but the red's still smooth. And you can see the duration here is for 10 seconds. So I can go into the red and make this duration, 30 seconds. So it takes even longer for those lights to make it through the whole pattern. And the red's moving faster than the blue is. So you can get creative with this, guys. You guys can make all sorts of different scenes. You can kind of use their what are they called? Curves, but their default curves that it comes with, and then kind of customize it to fit you or fit your show. Let me go and make a little shift here. So really, the possibilities are limitless. You could do a lot of different things with this. So let me go ahead and save this generator file. Save as. Mac 101. And we'll call this red and green. We'll go here to live. Now I'm going to add this into my color section. So I'm going to hit add light scene. And I'm going to make this a little bigger so I can always read it. And there we go. And I can right click on this and I can click move button, and I can move this over here into that particular fader or that column. Or I could move this one over. You can move these and position these whatever works for you guys. So I have my my generator file that I've made with kind of a nice different color fade. I have my speed fader. Or sorry, not my speed fader. I have my fader for my red, green, and blue. I have my red, green, and blue individually. And then over here, I would have all my different movements. And maybe down here, I would have like my Mac 101, what I would call master page, which would have like a strobe. Or if I had a fixture with the gobos, I'd have the gobos and maybe a prism and a focus. I put all those in a master. And then for fixtures that have like a discharge lamp, I'll make a page that says Mac 250 bulb, and I'd make a green button for lamp on and a red button for lamp off. So hopefully I've kind of given you guys at least something to think about, something to kind of get get working with your fixtures to create different generator scenes, to create different steps. We've talked about how to make the sound active for Showxpress and for the Windows version of Showxpress, as well as if you wanted to do it based off this tempo button here to go with the BPM. And it kind of sucks to have to do that, but on a Mac that's your only option, and you can have the lights change with the beat that way. Something else real quick to show you, in your settings here you have numbers of master faders. If you need your text to be bigger because your eyes are horrible, you can do that to make the text bigger. And you notice now I have my master faders over here. So over here I'll go ahead and I'll hit edit, and I'll make these the dimmers for the maybe the front totems, or maybe it's all the Mac 101 totems we've made. And so let me rename, and we'll call this Mac 101 Dimmer. And so here, this will override anything that's turned on, so I can dim my faders all the way down or put them back at 100. And you could also use this for a color wheel, or sorry, your colors, your gobos. But it's nice that you have these 4 master faders, and you can't see that I'm clicking up here. Where is it at? Settings. Sorry, it's under settings. Let me just go back and show what I was going to explain to you. You can go to these 3 lines here, go to settings, and then in here you can make your faders for your MIDI control for the master faders. And if you have a button that's kind of handy on your APC40 or whatever MIDI controller you're using, you can map the BPM or tempo drum. So as you hit that, it'll be essentially hitting the drum to go with the beat of the music. So you can speed your shows up and slow them down if you don't have a Windows computer and you're using a Mac. The pause and freeze is nice. I don't know if you guys have used this in the past, but let's say I have my blue lights turned on. I can hit pause, I can turn off my blue lights and hit red. Now until I hit this button up here, the blue is still active. So I can kind of wait for the scene to build up, and I can do this for colors and maybe movements and maybe some shutter patterns, I don't know. But as soon as I hit it, it'll then turn off whatever I clicked and activate whatever I had clicked. So hopefully, like I said, guys, I'm not perfect with explaining stuff, and I've tried my best to do this. I hope that you're able to get some ideas from this that may improve your lighting shows. If you have any questions, throw them in the comment section on the YouTube video, or post it up in the Chauvet Showxpress and lighting group on Facebook. And I'll do my best whenever I'm free, or like I said, there's a lot of guys in this group now that have a good amount of experience with Showxpress that can get in there and help you guys and get you situated. And use the search, because a lot of times there are people that have had the same issues as you that have asked the questions and have gotten the answers for them. And let me say this as well, and I don't mean this to be rude. Do not call me. Do not find my number on our website and call me on a Friday or Saturday, unless it's an absolute emergency. But don't call me and ask for me to walk you through stuff, because I'm super busy during the week, and a lot of times, pretty much every time I've ever gotten these phone calls, it's in the wrong time. I'm busy doing something else, and I tend to be a little bit of a jerk on the phone. So if you guys need help, I can set up a consult with you guys. But really, the best thing you could do is post up in the Showxpress group, because I'm not able to answer a lot of your questions immediately. And if you need an immediate answer or immediate help, or even just want to get the ball moving on learning something, utilize that Showxpress group, because that's what it's there for. And by asking those questions there, you're not only going to be able to help yourself faster, but you'll also help the community as a whole, because there may be someone that's having the same issue and just may not have asked the question yet, or they've had the issue but they forgot to ask the question, or they never knew there was a workaround for the issue that you may be having. So post up the questions in the group. That's really the best place for it. If you leave them in the YouTube comments, I'll do my best to get to you guys. But I hope this helps you out. Let me know also in the comments what you would like to see the next Showxpress video to be on. Whether you want to see the standalone or the timeline, let me know. Let me know what in version 7 you would like a video on, or leave your questions in your comment section, and I'll make a video answering, trying to answer your questions specifically this week. So until then, guys, follow your hearts, follow your dreams, do what you love for a living, and thank you guys for watching the video. Give me a thumbs up.